Well, greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical. About a week out of my surgery, I'm feeling pretty good. And the story of my first arrest got a lot of positive responses and some requests to tell more. And I've kind of bantered the idea back and forth in my head because, you know, I do have this book that I'm hoping I can get done before the end of this summer, or at least get out. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a story from that is going to be in the book. Well, actually, they'll all be in the book, but this was quite a story. You had to be there. First, a little housekeeping. One, for some reason, this phone has, every now and again, it reprograms itself to store the memory somewhere else, and then it takes me 6 years to figure out how to get it back. So if this thing runs out of memory in the middle of my story, I'll have to finish it somewhere else, and you'll know why. Number two, housekeeping. I don't know if it's the testosterone shots or what, but I cannot get the fucking song out of my head from the Go-Go's, the girl 1980s band. We Got the Beat. It's been in my head for 3 days. I need to get it the fuck out of my head. I got the beat. I got the beat. Yeah, we got it. I can't get it out of my head. Although that, what was her name? Bethany Carlisle? See, I'm even getting perverted as I get older. Anyways, on with the story. You know, a lot of times people ask me, you know, were you ever scared? This is actually a very scary story. It's not going to come off that way in this video because I'm standing here in broad daylight and, you know, I'm older. You had to be there. So I'm going to try and describe it to you. And you're going to have to really picture this as it went down. And I'm trying to make it so that everybody, I don't speak too much cop talk so that everybody can understand it. If you hate cops or you know, whatever, then now's your time to click off. Here we go. I was a training officer working Hollywood Division. And that means that probationers, guys that had a year probation, you know, they get assigned to a training officer. And I was working morning watch, which is what normal people, I think, call graveyards. So it's like, oh, dark fucking 30. And I'm with this brand new guy. You know, I mean, not like a couple days out of the academy, but, you know, a few months out. And we were rolling south on Western. And you know, if somebody watches this and it turns out that they're related to the victim, I sincerely apologize. I won't name names. But the scenario itself it'll sound familiar to you if you knew the victim of this crime. And you know, my condolences. I don't mean to make light of it in any way. In fact, quite the opposite. Okay, so we were rolling southbound Western Avenue in Hollywood, and we were approaching Santa Monica. And Santa Monica and Western in those days, that was the Hollywood, like most cities, was divided into areas in terms of its criminal activity or its social activity. And Santa Monica and Western in those days was more of the male prostitute activity, but also a lot of transgendered activity in that area. Further west too, but in that area, it was like the further, in the area where we're talking about, it was not that there's a brighter side to prostitution, but if there was a brighter side, this would be the darker side. You know, the further east you go on Sunset Boulevard, the cheaper the prostitutes got and the less teeth they had, kind of thing. So here we are, and this call comes out. It's a code 3 call, so that immediately gets your attention because you hear the tone. You know, beep, beep, beep. Hollywood units, any Hollywood unit able to handle a 187 in progress. You know, and the address was whatever it was, which was basically Santa Monica or Western and Santa Monica. Any unit handle code 3. I mean, we are like right there. It's just one of those fluke things that happen to cops. And so we pick up the radio, you know, whatever it was, you know, so I can't remember the unit, 6A45, show us code 6. That means we're there. Okay, so everybody in the city heard the call, or not the city, in the division. And I just snorted. I'll have to cut that out. There's no fucking way I'm leaving that in. Okay, hold on, Charlie. I'm telling a story here. It's windy, so it's going to make it harder for these guys to hear. Hang on. So, right in the wind tunnel. So the excitement level is up because the comments on the call, they say, see the PR or meet the PR at the corner of Santa Monica and Western, who will direct. The suspect's described as a male black, 6'8", dressed as a female who is, murdering somebody. All right, so in California, Los Angeles specifically, like most areas, alongside the freeways, or like out here they call them turnpikes, but along the highways, they have a lot of foliage and ivy and shit like that. And behind, because the weather's so nice in California, underneath the triple canopy of all this growth, you can find like homeless almost communities where they've got like very complex shelters with car batteries and shit to run various lighting or whatever. And so a lot of the prostitutes, and the male prostitutes specifically in this area, are homeless because they're feeding drug habits, and they got a host of other issues. So you get guys on parole, whatever, all kinds of people that are homeless, and you can run into some serious crimes that take place up in those jungles there along. Citizens are driving to and from work, have no idea what's going on, mere yards from them. So there was a path. It was almost like a trailhead leading into one of these, I wish you could see my hand language, but I'm holding leashes, leading into one of these communities. And there's a guy, this white dude, he's running toward us. As we get out, of course, guns come out, and he's yelling, "Hey, whoa, I'm the guy that called, my God." And he's completely freaking out. Man, he's killing him, man. Use the theatrics in your own mind, But we're sitting here, we don't know if this is the suspect or the guy that called. We don't know jack shit. Now you're going to say, yeah, but the suspect was described as a male black, and this is where a lot of civilians don't get it. No offense intended, but it doesn't take long for a cop to learn that what a witness sees is nothing like what is actually happening. So you could describe a Chinese humpback dwarf on a unicycle committing a 187, and if a 6 foot tall Hawaiian runs out of the crime scene, they're going to get stopped because adrenaline, fear, excitement, unknown issues, more than one suspect. Everybody's a suspect until they're not. So here this dude's he's obviously upset, and basically I believe him at that time. He's completely upset. Oh my God, he's killing him. You gotta do something, he's killing. And I said, calm down, sir. What is it? The guy back there's got a knife, he's cutting him to death, you gotta do something. So I immediately, all right, turn around and face away from me. And I hook him up, I handcuff his hands behind his back. I do a cursory search, make sure he's not got any weapons, and he's screaming the whole time, "Oh my God, you gotta do something." I leave him with my probationer at the car because I know other units are coming. And this guy now is secured in the vehicle, in the back seat. But he's telling me that somebody's getting killed. And he's pointing to that trailhead. So I got a decision to make. And it didn't take me more than, a picosecond. I got to go in there and stop this fucking murder, man. There was no question. I tell my probationer, "Hey, man, direct the other units when they come in, let them know where I'm at." Roger that. Fucking, the time we're carrying Berettas. Beretta comes out, and I got, I'm going in tactical. I can't show you, but I'm doing the tactical entry where I'm slicing pies as much as I can. I got my tactical light in my sport hand, and I'm in a weaver, kind of a weaver stance as my weapon's drawn, and I enter this dark black. Funny this way. I enter this dark blackness, man, and it's a very thin trail. It's not like what I'm on here. It's like what Buddy's walking on. It's about that wide so that your shoulders are kind of dragging to the left as you go along. It goes down and it curves a little bit to the left, then curves to the right. There's a little straightaway, curves again. The left is this big like wall, big concrete wall, and to the right it slopes way down to where the freeway is, and you can hear the occasional car go by because it's very early. You know, it's like I said, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Not traffic at all, but you can't see the cars. It's that thick with greenery. You know, all I know is the suspect was described as like 6'9", black guy. This dude's saying he's stabbing the fuck out of somebody. I am just seconds away from encountering this gigantic dude with this big blade. I know it in every ounce of fiber. I'm trying to remember as I'm tactically going through. Is that an eagle? Oh shit! Look at that bald eagle. Well, you guys can't see it. Awesome. You know, and I'm trying to remember, and in my memory, I don't think this path goes all the way. I don't think there's an exit on the other end. So I'm thinking this dude's got to come my way. And it's eerily quiet. And you know, when you're the guy when you're the cop coming in, they know where you're at. You don't know where they're at. You know, we all understand that. You know, you're not stealth. You're not like a Navy SEAL all stealthed out with your keys taped up and shit. They know where you're at. You got your light. You're trying to make it hard on them. You're trying to. You remember, you're always behind the power curve. I don't want to get into too much tactics here, but they know what you don't know, and you got to figure out what it is that they know. Make a decision and then follow through and come out the victor. So, you know, your head is really moving fast. And I'm taking this, you know, my tactical steps, man. And I'm sneaking around. Fucking dark, man. But I don't want my light on all the time. I don't want to, you know, just because a guy's using a knife don't mean you don't have a gun. You learn that shit real quick too. Just because they said it's one guy doesn't mean there's not 4 guys. There's a lot of things you got to consider, and you got to assume the worst. So I'm in condition fucking red, man, and I know I'm gonna there's gonna be some gunfire any second now as I move closer and closer, and I'm trying to negotiate. You know, try slicing the pie on a curve in the bushes. There's not a safe way to do it, but you do what you can. And I'm coming through here, and I know, man, I'm gonna run into it any second, man. This guy, I'm going to hear the shriek of a fucking blood-crazed banshee. And he's going to come at me with this motherfucking carving cleaver. And it's just going to be on like Donkey Kong, man. And I know it. And I know how fast a guy can clear 20 feet to where I'm at with that fucking blade. Then you add drugs or whatever else he's on. And I know I got to drop this motherfucker. And I got to drop him before he gets to me. Because I don't want to tie up with this dude. You got me? I do not want to tie up with this dude in this little teeny footpath. As big and crazed as he is, and I still haven't fucking even found him yet, man. I'm coming around and I'm trying to fucking move fast because remember, there's a murder in progress, man. I'm trying to save somebody here. Besides just myself, I'm trying to stop a murder that I've been told by the radio, and this dude, I have every reason to believe that's taking place. It's going on right now, but I don't hear anything. That's weird. So I come around the corner, man. It's curving to the left. And as I circle and slice, and I come on the corner, I see the worst stabbing victim that I ever saw in my career. And I have to, unfortunately, I have to spend some time on this scene because this is the crux of what happened here. And again, if the family members run into this video, I'm so sorry. Because there's a very strange ending to this story, by the way, that make you think that you can't make this shit up, man. It's absolutely just, the odds are phenomenal. This guy's got to be 22 years old at the most, maybe 23. Small, white, male, short shorts and nothing else on. Blonde curly hair like a little surfer guy, but clearly You know, he's more than likely homosexual because of where he's at. Not that that matters, I'm just painting the picture for you. And he's laying on a mattress. You know, like I said, they have little cities back there. And he's on his back. And his eyes are open wide, very wide. And his hands are up, you know. And his knees are bent. He's got countless stab puncture wounds everywhere. Through his hands, through his feet, through his legs, through his thighs, through his face, through his chest. Uncountable. Hundreds of stab wounds. No bullshit. And, you know, you take this all in at once because, remember I said the bushes, the foliage, the shrubbery is, Charlie, this way, Charlie. Shrubbery is so dense, it's right up on you, and on my right side and in front of me, blood is still dripping, pouring from these bushes. And do you realize the distance? So that's all the way across the trail. And through every single hole in this guy's body, stab wound. Every time his heart pumps, you could see the blood wasn't spurting anymore. It was just, it would be like, and when I hit his eyes with my light, you know, his pupils reacted just enough to where I realized he could still see me, but he was dead. This was like the very moment of his death. And the last thing I'm sure he ever saw was my ugly ass coming around the corner too fucking late to save him. But I have another thing on my mind. The guy that did this, the animal that did this to this poor dude, is in these fucking bushes with me somewhere. So if you think I was in condition red a minute ago, I'm off the fucking charts now. And I have no time to feel sorry for this dude here. All I know is he's no longer with us. And I just watched him leave. And whoever the fuck did this, he's gonna try and fucking come at me next. And I'm gonna put this motherfucker down hard. But I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't fucking scared, man. And now I gotta finish my search, right? I'm looking around. And I know this dude's gonna spring any fucking second. And then I hear, Weiss, right behind you, man. And I hear the approach of other officers. And the end of the story is that the suspect wasn't in the bushes waiting for me. There was an exit on the other side. He'd gone the other way. Now, this is the weird part of the story. The murderer was arrested the next day. I mean, he was kind of hard to, I think the vice guys that dealt with him recognized the description. He was a big dude. And, you know, he was back here trying to have sex with this guy or whatever. They had just met. And he had a drug freak out thing. And, you know, I don't know, maybe the guy wanted to change the radio stations or something. It was something like that. And the suspect just went fucking nuts. Okay. Here's the fucking caveat that is just unbelievable. Okay. Police stations in LA in those days, I don't know about now, but, you know, of course, I'm sure it's the same. We had report writing rooms where officers would go do their reports, and they were usually pretty busy because you got prisoners pounding on windows and shit over here, and the fucking watch commander's looking at you through the glass there. So if you worked morning watch, one of the benefits, and the detectives hated us for this, but if you were smart, you'd go back to the detectives area because they work during the day. And there's, you know, 50, 60, 70 desks there. You got the murder, you know, the 187, which is murder. I forgot to say that when the radio call came out. You guys probably know that. So you got homicide over here, child crimes over there, auto thefts over there, burglary over here. All these different, you know, these huge desks that are pushed together, you know, in twos. Big oak desks. And on each desk is a phone, no computers back then. And, you know, as long as you didn't fuck with their shit, that, you know, you just left it the way you found it. But you got like 50, 60 desks to choose from. And it's got to be a month after this murder. Easily. And I'm writing like some DUI arrest report or some shit, and I grab a cup of coffee and I go back to detectives, and I just fucking pick a desk, man, just any old desk. And then once again, here it is, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and the fucking phone in front of me rings. Now that's happened 100,000 times, and of course I don't answer it because I'm not a detective. They don't want to talk to a patrol guy, or it's not my place to answer that phone. That's not like somebody asking for help, like, oh my God, they'd be calling 911 or they'd call the front desk or whatever. This is like a specific, I didn't even look at where I was, what desk it was at, what crime. But as I reached for that phone, part of my internal dialogue in my head was like, what are you doing, man? Why are you answering this phone? But I picked it up and there's this sobbing on the other end of the phone. It's a female and she's crying very hard. And I say, Officer Weiss with the LAPD, what can I do for you? I'm sorry to call you this hour, and I know it's late where you are, or early or whatever. I'm sorry, I've been drinking, I admit it. I'm like, well, ma'am, what's going on? I'm calling you from New York City. And I'm like, okay, what can I do for you, miss? If you want detectives, She goes, well, I've been up all night crying. My brother was murdered out there a month ago. And still of course I wasn't making any connection. And she's like, he was stabbed to death over there by Western. And immediately I realized, holy fuck, I'm talking to the dead guy's sister. And I'm thinking, what? And she says, I just wanted to talk to somebody, the detective or somebody that had seen him, because I didn't get any details. And I just want to know everything. I need to know how he died. I need to know every detail. And here I'm picturing this guy. I know every question she's got, I got the answer to. I could tell her every wound. I could tell her about the tear drop that rolled out of his eye when I rounded the corner. Everything. And I've gone back and forth with this my entire life after that incident, regretting it and then thinking I did the right thing. But do you know, I made a decision not to tell her. I said, miss, here she's talking to the last guy. Out of all the fucking numbers she could have called in the whole fucking LAPD, and for me to be at that desk, that was no accident, man. She's talking to the last guy that saw her brother alive for a millionth of a second. What are the odds? But I had to think quick, and I opted to tell her, well, ma'am, I'm patrolled, but if you call back during the day, here's the number to the homicide detectives, and they'll be happy to answer your questions, I believe, to the best of their ability. And she's like, I'm sorry for bothering you. And oddly enough, my own sister at 32 years old would go to New York City and jump off a high-rise and commit suicide. And I would be the dude calling back there trying to fucking talk to the cop that saw her. And do you know, I connected with him and he chewed me out saying, what kind of a fucked up family do you have that would make a girl do this? Wow. But that's the story. There's a lot of very strange side, serendipitous stuff in that story, don't you think? I mean, I'm all jacked up just telling you, man. I think the phone call from the sister is more interesting than anything. The fact that, what do you guys think? Should I have told her? And you see, here's why I regret it. It wasn't until my own sister died that I realized what a fucking need you have. I actually flew to New York and I went to the window she jumped from and I looked down. You gotta have that kind of closure. And when I did that, I realized, fuck, I screwed up. I should have told her. And if you're out there, now you know. Charlie, this way. No. Yeah, and like I say, that wasn't the most brutal killing I'd seen, but that was a strange experience. Anyways, that's my story, and let me know what you think about that, and let me know what you guys think I should have done differently. Be nice, because I can't go back and undo it. I'm talking about on the approach. I don't want to hear some, oh, you left your probationer alone. Look, man, you got to make fucking decisions, and I don't regret that part of it. I regret I didn't get there fast enough to save this guy, but looking at the amount of stab wounds, man, I just don't think that anything could have saved him. But that's it. With with that train whistle blowing. LMS Tactical, I'm out.
Yeah, it's on the other side. Supposedly the passenger side window was shot out.